Yo, guys. First of all, just going to say thanks to everyone who gave me a welcome. Thanks for that. And I've tried to do this video quite a few numbers of times. This is the most I've tried to do this damn video. And I don't know why I'm having such a hard time articulating what I want to say. But this is a response to what somebody wrote, and this is going to be the last time I'm going to try this video, so I don't know how this is going to come out. Anyway, so a guy or girl called Hey Chen Yinni said, I like the argument, but I think you may be conflating Islamist to Muslim. Anyone who says when asked what religion are you and answers Muslim is a Muslim. An Islamist is someone who follows the doctrine. I very much doubt people, Muslim, Christian, socialists, are actually devout even when they understand what they are following. I just want to say, I understand what you're saying is that the majority of what you're saying is that probably the majority of Muslims are probably non-practicing. They're people who don't really understand the religion, who are just Muslim by name, just because they were told as kids they're Muslim, so they say they're Muslim. So you're saying I'm probably conflating Islamist to Muslim. I can see by what you're saying is you might think I'm being alarmist and saying all Muslims are a threat to the West, or all the refugees who are Muslim are a threat to the West. Well, I'll just clarify. What I mean is that the practicing Muslims, the ones who are perpetuating the religion, the ones who are brainwashing their children into being Muslim, the ones who go to the mosque and the ones who preach and the ones who do dawah and try to convince other people to be Muslims, I would say, yeah, they're Islamists. What I mean by Islamist is somebody who believes in the political form of Islam. What they believe in is that an Islamic form of government is the best form of government, and that if a country is a Muslim majority, then it's good to implement a Muslim majority government. A Muslim government, Islamic form of government called a caliphate. And if you look into a caliphate, if you ask them, you'll see that it's not egalitarian, that Muslims have more rights than non-Muslims, that men have more rights than women, and that heterosexuals have more right than non-heterosexuals. So that's something I was a devout Muslim, and I used to believe in the Islamic form, Islamic caliphate. Now it might sound strange, you saying that, or someone who's saying that they believe, yep, I believe that it's good for men to have more rights than women, but that's not actually the core of the argument. It gets a bit complicated, but the only reason why I'm bringing this up, because I think a knee-jerk reaction might be, see how crazy these people are, they actually believe in something that's non-egalitarian and they're fine with it. The reason is, what I've seen is that they tend to believe that it's a dynamic system, that the system as a whole is beneficial for everybody, that men have certain roles and responsibilities, women have certain roles and responsibilities. Heterosexuality is better for the health and flourishing of society than non-heterosexuality, and they believe that what else is there? That the Muslims do it's okay for Muslims to have more rights than non-Muslims, and that. But one of the justifying reasons for it is that the Islamic form of government is really benevolent, and so it's the best for everyone concerned. And they also believe, I think, that it will encourage non-Muslims to become Muslims, so they see, oh, if you become Muslim, you have more rights. So anyway, so it's a bit complicated. The reason they think what I can see is a system. They believe in a system government, that you can't really compartmentalize that. If you take it all together, that becomes beneficial for the whole. So I don't agree with it. I think it's nonsense. But that is part of the reason. They don't just literally look at it and just think, I didn't think that. Just look and think, oh, men have more rights than women. Yeah, that's a-okay. Or Muslims have more rights than non-Muslims. Oh, that's absolutely fine. There's a reasoning behind it, whether you agree with the reason or not. Anyway, so I just want to get away from that. But I just want to, reason why I want to make that point and just clarify, am I conflating Islamist to Muslim? It's just that I don't want to feed into the far-right narrative that, well, Muslims are a threat and things like this, and that Muslims are just dummies who just believe in barbarianism for no reason. There can be sophisticated reasons for why they believe certain things, etc. So what I'm trying to say is that, yep, I agree that not all Muslims are practicing, not all Muslims are really knowledgeable of their religion, but the ones who have a lot of power and are the ones that I'm trying to caution people regarding, because I do believe that they are a threat. They're a threat ideologically, they're a threat intellectually, they're a threat maybe perhaps physically to the values of egalitarianism, secularism. Now, I'm not trying to say that all Islamists are violent Islamists, because you can have Hizb ut-Tahrir, which are mainly intellectual, but they also have tried coups. But and you can have an Islamist who is like ISIS or Al Qaeda or the Taliban. So, I'm not trying to say all Islamists are extremists or violent, because that's not the case. But the ones who believe in Islamic form of government are Islamists, and devout Muslims generally do. If you ask them, they do believe that caliphate is the best form of government for everybody concerned. So yeah, I hope that answers the first part, that I don't believe that all Muslims are fully aware of their religion, and I think a lot of them, they really learned about religion. I think a lot of the ones at least grown up in the West, who have friends who may be non-heterosexual, or have friends who may be women who are men, or women who have friends who may be men, or may have have deep emotional bonds with non-Muslims. Once they start actually reading what an Islamic government would entail, I think a lot of them will be disgusted, and they'd have a crisis of conscience, and they really have to. They'd probably be driven to the point of either really trying to learn, either reconcile their faith with egalitarianism, like Irshad Manji and Majid Nawaz, or they would leave the religion. That's what I think would happen to the majority of Western Muslims. But because they don't really understand their religion, because they're really existing just in name, and they really only learn about the good parts of religion, or they just have like these emotional memories from childhood of growing up with religion, that's what I think probably keeps them in.